Yes, I believe it's 12 noon sharp. Good afternoon, everyone. Or should I say good morning, depending on where in the globe you are. A good day to everyone. I believe that's a better greeting this morning. It's 12 and we are set to go. Hope everyone can hear and see me. My name is Angela Omokwale and I'm your moderator today. I welcome everyone on behalf of the founders, the trustees, the management of WIMBIZ. I welcome everyone this morning, or this afternoon, to this e-Roundtable, the International Women's Day e-Roundtable, which has the theme, Embrace Equity through Financial Sustainability. I love the chats I'm seeing coming in. Please, let's keep up. Our participants who have joined, please, you can just, say hello, introduce yourself, and also tell us where in the globe, part of the world you are joining from, and just tell us something about yourself. So welcome, everyone. Our theme for today is Embrace Equity through Financial Sustainability, and it's interesting. This morning, I was having a conversation with my daughter, she was just complaining about, what her class teacher did yesterday. I think her class teacher is male, so she was just going on and on that, been promising them they can go out for break and all that, and they would have to play games, although they are writing their tests now. So she was saying it was, what he did yesterday, he allowed the boys to go out and play football. And he didn't allow the girls to, leave the classroom. And she was all upset about it this morning as we were preparing. And, as she went on and on, maybe because I was in a hurry. So I said, look, Izehi, or the job of your class teacher is not to make you happy or make you feel good. And, so it's not every time he'll do what you want. She just looked at me boldly and said, oh, I know, Mom, but his job is to do what is fair. And I was shocked that this 10-year-old girl was already advocating for equity in her classroom. And, it struck me and it really resonated with me. I looked at her twice and said, I just looked at her again and said, wow, is there he already, maybe because this webinar was on my mind, I said, wow, this is already equity speaking. So welcome everybody to this webinar. We all look forward to very engaging and stimulating conversations today. So once again, we're welcome. And, please, let's just keep chats and interactions flowing. For those who are not very familiar with WIMBIZ, the Women in Management, Business and the Service, it's a non-profit organization that was founded over 20 years ago. And since then, since it was founded, it has been implementing programs that advocate for, greater participation of women in the private sector, inspiring women and empowering them. So please, any of our participants, if you're not a WIMBIZ associate today, the doors of WIMBIZ are wide open. Please, we encourage you to join. We encourage you, to be a part of this wonderful family. So once again, we are all welcome. I just love to, acknowledge our sponsors, and please in the chat, let's give a shout to Meristem Securities Limited for supporting this e-Roundtable today. So please, let's just say in the chat, we can type something. Let's give them a high five. Let's say Meristem Securities rocks. Thank you, Meristem. I love that. I'm seeing that in the chat. Thank you, Meristem. Meristem rocks. So thank you for supporting this, e-Roundtable today. Also, please, if you have, any inquiries about, you just want to make any inquiries about being a member, about becoming an associate, please, we can contact the WIMBIZ headquarters at membership@wimbiz.org. And if you even want to know more about WIMBIZ, please, you can also, just go to www.wimbiz.org. So we are geared to go. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining this roundtable. As I said, we look forward to really deep and inspiring conversations. And, I believe we'll all leave the webinar today empowered, inspired, and ready to do great things. At this point, I'll just like to welcome the chair of the 2023 WIMBIZ Programs Committee, Ms. Molade Adeniyi, for her opening remarks. Please, let's just give it up for Molade. Molade, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much, everyone. Gosh, the energy in the room is electric. I am feeling it already. Just confirm you can hear me clearly and you can see me and all of that. Great. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to, you know what I love about International Women's Day and WIMBIZ. It's one day, but WIMBIZ, we have decided to celebrate it for the whole month. So we started off with an electric, Insta Live last week, where we were really looking at the theme and really looking at what it means to individuals, what it means to organizations, corporates, etc. And we've been celebrating women in technology for the entire month. So every day, if you're following us on our Instagram pages, on LinkedIn, etc., you will see all of the women in tech that have been celebrated, and we still have more. And here we are with this amazing webinar that we're going to be speaking about embracing equity and really looking at what it means from a financial sustainability perspective. I'm really excited. When I think about equity, when I think about the theme for this year, I really think it's not about equal opportunities, right? It's about looking at individuals and equipping them with what they need to ensure there's a level playing field. So it's really about thinking who is disadvantaged from any point of view, and giving them the oomph or the up that they need so that everyone can actually have a level playing field. So I hope that, as we continue in these conversations, especially as we're really looking at financial sustainability, how should we be thinking about finances as women, as organizations, led by women, really what should we be thinking about when it comes to money? I hope that we truly embrace equity today, and that the lessons, the gems that are going to be dropped by our amazing lineup of speakers, we will be able to take that back and truly begin to run with it to really have impact. So I'm here embracing equity, or embrace equity as the theme is, and I look forward to an exciting time for the next couple of hours. So keep all distractions away. We'll tell everybody to leave you for a second as we engage in this conversation. I'm going to hand back over to our amazing moderator, and let's get the conversation going. Thank you everyone for joining, and please tell your friends to join. We're about to get the party started. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Molade. And here we are embracing equity. So wherever you are, maybe you can just embrace equity with me and give yourself a big hug. So everyone, you're welcome once again. Molade has already, talked a bit about what we expect today, looking at equity through, the lens of financial sustainability, through the lens of finance. We started this conversation last week. I mean, although Molade has said for WIMBIZ, it's a month-long celebration of International Women's Day. We actually started deep conversations last week when we had our Instagram live chat. That was really, it was really informative. We got a lot of nuggets. And one thing, as Molade has said, is that, equity is not a one-size-fits-all. It's something, that's, yes, both equality and equity, they talk about being fair. That's the objective you want to attain. But for equity, is giving what each person needs to be successful, given their particular circumstances. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. I remember our moderator last week, Isa, he gave a very good analogy with the bicycle. I mean, you can't give the same type of cycle to an adult, a child, or a person with disabilities. That would not be equity. And, when I thought about that later, I said, even what would be more equitable is that when we have even facilities or, we are doing things, we have to ensure that everyone is well covered, given their particular circumstances. Even following the analogy of the cycle, if you have a facility, make sure you have something that even the person with disabilities that maybe live, using a wheelchair can access your facilities. So equity is all about giving each person what they need to be successful, given their particular circumstances. So once again, we're ready. And as Molade has said, we have such a distinguished lineup of speakers today. I'm just about to introduce our first speaker. She is the Managing Director of Meristem Trustees Limited. She has been, in the financial services sector for, going to 20 years now. She's well experienced in financial planning, wealth management, investment advisory, and all that. She is a member of different professional organizations in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. He's also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we have some gentlemen here. Please let's give it up for Ms. Damilola Hassan, MD Meristem Trustees Limited. Damilola, you are welcome. You are welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here today. We can hear you and we can see you clearly. You are welcome. You are welcome. So we're just going to start this conversation and run with it. As we said, we've been talking about equity. We started last week, looking at what equity was last week. And this, today we want to continue and deepen that conversation. So just like to ask you, given your wealth of experience in financial services sector, you've done a lot, even as I said, wealth management, financial planning, and all that. What does the concept of equity mean to you, and why do you think equity is significant to women the world over, given your experience and background in finance?
Great. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. WIMBIZ platform gives that opportunity, for women all over the world to come together and to discuss germane issues that bother on women and how we can better unleash our potential. So it's always a pleasure to be here. Okay, we have laid the foundation prior to now on what equity is. We all know equity is primarily speaking to fairness. Equity is not equality. So it's just recognizing the circumstances that different individuals are faced with, and then factoring in all of that, to give everyone an opportunity, to shine. So when looking at embracing equity for through financial sustainability, we're looking at how can everyone out there, every woman out there, be financially stable. Financial sustainability is speaking to the ability to constantly earn an income that can help to meet your current obligations and future obligations. So we are talking of income that is sustainable well into the future. How are we positioned as women to ensure this is our reality? And of course, we know that there's a problem because a lot of women are not there. A lot of women haven't achieved that level of financial sustainability. And so it's important to look at the different issues, the different limitations creating this gap, the gap between where you are as a woman and where you should be when it comes to you and your finances. Definitely, we know that there are systemic issues, and I believe that this roundtable today will come down to some of those systemic issues that are limiting women from achieving their potentials financially. But then there are mindsets, there are limitations that we have put upon ourselves as well that we need to look at. I would quickly want to speak to a few of this. Cultural mindsets. Over the years, women have been told, from the girl child to you growing up into an adult, we have been told certain things. We've been told, oh, you need to put yourself in this manner, you need to do it so that you can be a support to your husband. We've drummed we've laid a lot of emphasis on a woman being the support. So even if a woman has the potential, to fly, because she has conditioned herself to be a support, somehow she's limiting herself to merely support when she can actually fly. When it comes to financial sustainability, remember, I'm speaking to earning an income and being able to sustain it into the future. How many women are equipped? If we look at global statistics, numbers don't lie. So if you have a pool of investors, a pool of people who have deployed their money to work for them one way or the other, out of every 10 individuals, you would have only about 3, maximum 4 of such being women. So 30 to 40% of women in adult age are exposed to any form of investment at all. And you wonder, why is this so? Is it that the women are not working? Is it that the women are not earning? No, the women are. We're earning, we're working, but because there's that understanding that we've been told to submit, we've been told to defer to the male figures in our lives all through our years. So we have conditioned ourselves, to such. I give a quick example. I was speaking to someone and she told me point blank that, am I aware that in certain places, a woman cannot buy a property? If you are trying to buy a property in certain places, in some parts of Africa, you will be told to bring your husband, your brother, your father. You'll be told to bring a male to stand in and broker that transaction and hold that property on your behalf. Why is this so? So I think that it's an important conversation that we're having. We are not oblivious of the issues. We need to fully confront what these issues are. How many women are taking decisions regarding their finances? Some of us, we earn, but we do not have the information that we should possess to translate the earnings into sustainable income over the years. I found an interesting statistics from the National Institute of Retirement Security, and it said something about 80%, women are 80% more likely than men to become impoverished at the age of 65. 80% more likely than men at the age of 65 to be broke and to be impoverished. And why is this so? Women have not come to terms with taking particular steps, to ensuring that their income is sustainable. Women are hardworking, they are fantastic workers, but what are you doing to ensure that the income you're earning at this point in time is being invested? You are building a legacy for yourself. How are we ensuring that we are even planning our estate? How many women have an estate plan? How many women in this room? It would be nice, Angela, to hear how many women in this room have a will. As that. We can go on and on, but let me just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've touched on so many things, positioning for the future, closing the gap, closing the gap where we are today as to where really we should be as women. Now, you've already started to talk, you've talked about some of the obstacles, this, our mindset, we have the mindset of support, we have the support, and also the, the cultural environment, tradition. You spoke even to the fact that even now in some climes, women cannot buy property even without a man standing for them. Now, as I said, you've touched on some of these obstacles. When looking up your profile, I read in your profile, you said women need to make some tough decisions. You just said, your clients, when talking to your clients need to make some tough decisions. Now, if you could just speak to what are some strategies that women could adopt to, overcome the obstacles they face, to building financial sustainability. What are those tough decisions that they need to take to, make those strategies, work, to make them successful? Please, if you could speak to that.
Okay, yes, so I help people to confront tough situations and make decisions, tough decisions that left to themselves they would not make, and there's so many of such, especially when it comes to money. We know that money is a very, very sensitive topic at any level. So it becomes more difficult even when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, when you are the employee and you have an employer. Money is just a common conversation that we should have, but how often are we having that conversation? So your question is, how can women position themselves? So a simple one, Angela, where as a woman you earn, and you're married and you also have a husband who earns. And you have expectations when it comes to how your obligations will be met now and into the future. You're collectively doing all of that together. But you are not asking questions about, if my husband is not there, God forbid incapacitation, God forbid death, what is going to happen to my children? What is going to happen to their education? What is going to happen to me? Can I still continue to live in this house that we have come together to build, that we have, the assets that we have put together over the years? Am I properly positioned to ensure that I truly have access to this asset? Now, when we start to talk about some of these things, people give you this look at, why are you speaking to death? I'm not going to die, and all of that. Yes, nobody wants to die. No, and nobody is saying you will die, but we're just saying what will happen should this be the situation. Have you not wondered why, when in a relationship, in a marriage, a man passes at, no, let me flip it. A woman passes at maybe age 45, 50, you hardly find the man impoverished by virtue of the woman, his wife, passing away early. You hardly find him in a situation where he can hardly move forward, where he can take decisions, where children are out of school, but they're both earning. But then flip the coin. The man passes, God forbid, at 45, at 50. And then you have the woman, a seemingly successful woman, who ordinarily should be able to take care of her children. You find her helpless. Because she hasn't over time positioned herself, to ensure that she's not in a vulnerable position. So if you are having those conversations, sometimes it's difficult for us as couples, as individuals, as singles to have those conversations. Work with a professional who can ask those questions. As a woman, you are not likely to be able to ask your husband, if you die, if you don't wake up tomorrow morning, what will happen to the children? What will happen to their education? You're not likely to be able to ask that. But if a professional is asking that question, is more likely to be seen as this is a neutral party. When you have assets, how are you holding title to those assets? Gone are the days when a woman should sit back and then you are saying, okay, no, my husband has, but yes, it's joint. And then when you look at the title, you are saying Mr. and Mrs. XYZ. It should be Mr. John and Mrs. Mary, so, and so. As simple as that. These are some of the things that a woman can do to properly position herself. Your asset, your investment, the money you are making, how are you multiplying it? How are you ensuring that you are deploying your income such a way that you are beyond what you are spending in the now, you are saving for the future, you are investing those savings in such a way, and you are confronting, you are looking at risk, looking at returns, you are gathering information, you are exposing yourself to knowledge, because these things won't just come. You have to, hunger for it.
You have to be intentional about it. So we have to be intentional as women. I think that's what I'm hearing you say. If we need professional help, let's get it. If we need, anybody that can help, there are some of these things we may not be able to do ourselves, but get professional advice, get professional help, and be future focused and intentional. Thank you very much, Daniel. We're just going to, so please hold your thoughts. Hold your thoughts. We want to, welcome and bring in the second speaker. But before we do that, I just want to acknowledge and recognize, the presence of some very important people that have joined the chat. We like to recognize the presence of the WIMBIZ board chairman. Please, let's welcome her in the chat. Let's just, say something nice. Ms. Bisi Adeyemi. We'd also like to recognize the presence of Ms. Rolake Akin-Filani. Is also on the call. So please, let's just show them some love. Rolake is a member of the WIMBIZ Board of Trustees. So you are welcome. We're getting ready now to bring in the second speaker. She is currently, the head of people management and administrative services at Nursal PLC. She has 20 years experience in private sector, the public sector, and the non-profit, sector. She has also held executive positions at Sigma Pensions and Girl Child Concerns. She is a very experienced mentor, coach, facilitator, and counselor. She is also a member of WIMBIZ and the CIPM. Nafisa is also happily married with children. So please, let's just give a round of applause as we welcome Nafisa Mohammed Buba. Nafisa, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, yes,
Thank
Nafisa.
you, Angela. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Nafisa. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Nafisa is joining us from City Abuja in Nigeria. So you're welcome, Nafisa. We're just going to get right into it.
Thank you.
You've been a people management person and HR practitioner for most of your career. You've done a lot of work coaching, mentoring also. Could you just give us your perspective on equity?
So I mean, we've said it earlier on. Equity is not equality. It's simply put, it's about providing a fair opportunity for everybody, irrespective of their gender, their circumstances, whether they're able or not, their color, their race, whatever it is. Just giving that particular individual whatever fair ground the person needs to achieve whatever it is that is the focus. Now, in doing so, I believe, Damilola spoke about when we look at equity in terms of financial sustainability. Damilola has spoken about the cultural aspect. I would like to look at this topic slightly differently from the people's perspective, to say, irrespective of what the systemic issues or challenges are, how do we as women in our various spaces actually gradually start changing the narrative? So we've got, for example, the cultural understanding that the girl, maybe, at least from my society anyway, the girl is just made to grow up and get married off and be the carer, the provider, in terms of, making a man comfortable. We're not speaking in terms of the girl being a provider in terms of financial capacity. So you as a woman, as a mother right now, what are you doing to change your daughter's capacity? The narrative, so that whatever your background has been, that story changes slightly for your daughter. And hopefully by the time she gets to her own stage, her own story changes slightly. I see a lot of, especially at the grassroots level, it's not so much now that it's just the cultural issue, but sometimes they don't even know what is possible. So they don't know what, in some cases, they don't know what their rights are. Even culturally or religiously, you've got some rights that the woman would actually ordinarily have been able to leverage to give herself some financial independence, but she doesn't know about it because somewhere along the line, she has not been given the opportunity to get the education. So for you, that's the aunt or the neighbor or in the workplace, the senior female colleague, what are we doing to actually change that narrative, to expose the young girls or the young mothers that are in whatever the environment is, to change their mindset and also to give them the opportunity. I was speaking with you yesterday, Angela, about the young lady, the mother in, I believe it's Kano, a typical Fulani woman, a herder. And because she got exposed to a university setup, she would go to, I believe it's BUK, Bayero University, to sell her yogurt. And so she kept seeing all these people that are educated, professors, and she loved the idea of her child being in that space. Because she got the support, surprisingly in this case, it was even from a man who helped her encourage her husband to let her son go to school, she was able to, selling off her cows, able to get this boy educated up to university level. Now, if this lady had not been taught that, it would be a different story, The husband would have done exactly what he wanted in terms of getting his son to simply go on with herding cows, and that's the end of it. The child would have grown up with knowing nothing else but that. So as people, I think for what I see as women, we do have the opportunity to change the narrative, irrespective of whatever the systemic issues are. Within the workplace, I see situations where young girls just don't have a clue. Partly, yes, our educational system, but just don't have a clue as to what opportunities there are in terms of saving, in terms of investment. And I mean, I see, thank God for organizations like WIMBIZ. The more we have people coming on board, I actually took up a personal challenge. I think I started last year to say every year I'm going to try and get on board at least one woman to join an organization like WIMBIZ. The more there are of us doing things like that, the more exposure we get to the young women in our society. And you find that gradually the narrative would change, the mindset would change.
Thank you very much, Nafisa. I love that. You know, what are we doing as women to change the narrative? Because we do have impact in our own little spaces, in whatever environment we find ourselves. We can make an impact. And I love this practical example you've given about even you have, you know, taken it upon yourself. Every year, you're going to get a woman or a girl, you know, to join this type of empowering and inspiring organization so that they could be inspired and empowered to do more. You know, so that's very good. So what are we doing, women, to change the narrative around us? I'm just going to veer you off a bit now, Nafisa. You know, sustainable development, they say it's development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. You have experience working with non-profit organizations and, you know, even those that aim to empower vulnerable women and girls. So how do we achieve sustainable development through promoting equity, especially looking at it from the area of these vulnerable women and girls?
I think, again, it goes back to what we do at the grassroots level. I'm involved with an organization called the Girl Child Concerned, and I happen to come from Borno State. In fact, I happen to come from Goza, one of the more seriously affected local governments by the Boko Haram insurgency. What we've done at GCC is we working with the state government, we've been able to have access to, so Borno State has what they call model schools. So we've been able to get access to one of these schools, and we've identified a number of girls. We've got over 300, getting to 400 now, that we have kept in one of these model schools to start from scratch. Some of them had been out of school 5-6 years, thanks to the insurgency. But bringing them on board, we have a program where for the first year, we're basically focusing on reorientating them back into society, dealing with some of the issues that require counseling because of all the atrocities that these young girls have been through. And after the first year, depending on their capacity, they then start the secondary school proper. So right now we've got the first set in JS3. I think our first set will be sitting for their JS3 this year. Now, aside from education, what are we doing for these young girls? And you see that the young girls are passing it on even when they go home. The focus is not just maths and English. Yes, education is important, but the focus is on how do you teach this girl to be independent, irrespective of where she finds herself. So we are doing a lot in terms of vocational skill training, teaching them different skills that would help them generate income for themselves. So imagine the youngest we will take in would be about 12 years old. So imagine this 12-year-old going through a structure with us for 7 years. Let's say she's able to go through each year and move on to each grade. By the end of the 7th year, even if that child is not able to go to university for whatever reason, she has gotten a good basic secondary school and she's able to care for herself. Guess what? By the time she gets married, because a lot of them, one of the major challenges that we keep having with parents is actually keeping them in school now, because everybody wants, most of the parents would want them to get married by the time they're 14, 15. We delay. We don't even argue with this issue of, no, don't get her married young. The argument now is, you know what? Let her get married young, no problem, but let her finish school first. So we keep them in until they get to 18, 19. If they marry even at that 18, 19, their capacity to care for their family is different. The way they run about their business is different. It all comes back to being able to give that opportunity. So in Goza, before we had this crisis, I remember our family home in Goza, the security man, his kids, as of when I was growing up, I don't know where they are now because of the insurgency, but his kids, I know he had 2 medical doctors and a daughter that was going in to study pharmacy or something. Both parents were not educated. And it wasn't the father that was doing this, it was the mother, because she had understood the need for education and she had gone out of her way to support these kids. These kids would come back from school, even university, and sit with her. She used to make local vegetable oil. They would participate in that, whether boy or girl. She was adamant about that. But at the end of the day, it was that little minor business that actually helped her get her kids into school. Medicine. She had 2 kids, I remember, in medical school. So at the grassroots level, we are each actually able to do much, even for the vulnerable community. Expose them to systems that's able to train them to care for themselves. And I think gradually the narrative will change.
Thank you so much, Nafisa. So it's all about, supporting and, encouraging, educating. Like you said, not only, it may not even be formal education, but also, even vocational education. And towards that, you work and gradually build yourself and build sustainable development and a sustainable financial future for these, for these young girls and for these women. So thank you very much, Nafisa. I'm also going to hold your thoughts here. We need to bring our third speaker on. But please, to our participants, I love the chats I'm seeing. I love them. Keep them coming. But I'll just like to say, if we have any questions, please, let's start getting ready our questions. We can just drop them in the Q&A box, please. All our participants, if you have any questions, I think I can see 3 already. We're going to have a Q&A session soon. So our third speaker, we just want her to come on now. She is Dr. Oyinkansola Jinodu, and we call her Dr. OJ. She's the CEO of HD Pro Global LLC and the president and founder of the Honey Drops Foundation. She also holds a PhD in humanities. She's a philanthropist, a speaker, an educator, an author, an actress, an entrepreneur, and the mother of 3 boys. Dr. OJ, you are welcome. She's joining us all the way from Dallas, Texas, and I know it's very early there. Dr. OJ.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
To see you today. It's lovely. It's lovely. And I love your background. Different, I love it. It's so beautiful. So Dr. OJ, you're welcome. Because of time, we'll just go straight into it. I know you have been an entrepreneur for most of your career. Could you just share some highlights of your journey so far as a successful entrepreneur? There may just be that entrepreneur in the audience that just needs some little nugget that will help build a more sustainable financial future. So share some of your story with us, your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you so much, Miss Angela. Most definitely. So we're talking about equity and financial sustainability. And one of the struggles and the challenges, the biggest one that a lot of entrepreneurs face is access to finances, as we all know. And it becomes even more difficult being a female. It doesn't get easier because you cross over. A lot of people have the myth and assumption that just because you jackpot and you come to the US, that things are automatically laid out and easy for you. No, it's not. And for me, my journey has been very peculiar. And one of the things that I can honestly, and I would love to share today, is my ability to develop myself and pivot very, very quickly. Over the years, 17 years and counting now in the United States, I've had to acquire several skills. I can tell you so many things that I've had to do to really make this entrepreneurial dream a reality. And I can tell you that I have catered, I've been married, divorced, single mom, and I had to figure out a way to keep myself going and to sustain my family. So my situation is not unique. It's not special. It's the story of so many women all over the world. But one of the things that I have found very useful is my ability to think creatively and to pivot very quickly as needed. When I started my business, of course, I took out my savings and I was like, I was a teacher, I was in the 9 to 5, but I knew that that was not going to get me to the dream. You know, we talk about the American dream. Trust me, that is a myth as well. You just have to create your own dream. After I got here and I realized the American dream was just a fast, I decided, okay, I needed to have Onyeka's dream, and I created Onyeka's dream. And that is what really kind of gingered me. So women ask me all the time, Doctor, oh, you do so much. How do you do it? This. I said, look, the reality of the matter is I continue to expand my capacity every day. I have innate abilities, yes. And this is what I say. I believe that everybody has a gift. We all come to this world with something in our hands. But for sometimes that thing in your hand might not be the thing that will sustain you financially. Starting off. It doesn't mean you give up on it. It doesn't mean it's not going to be useful. Hold on to that thing. And if that thing for now is not able to give you the financial capacity to live the dream that you've created for yourself, learn a skill. Learn 2 skills. Learn 3 skills. Learn multiple skills. Stay abreast of what is attainable and what's available. I tell you that I am not just this beauty professional that is doing all this stuff in beauty and aesthetics. I'm also an educator. And I took my teaching skills and my license and I used that to start creating curriculums. And then I found myself becoming an author, writing books and doing all these things. And then eventually I realized, oh, my ability to write books means now I can actually become a speaker. Let's start speaking. And then I started getting those speaking engagements. So now I have how many streams of income? It doesn't mean everything brings money in all the time. But as a woman, if you're not going to, for me, my experience is the way I look automatically positions me to be vulnerable to male advances. However, I have figured out a way to craft that and put my skills ahead of this. So when I enter into a room, into a space, I come presenting a lot of value. So before you even try to proposition me, I'm like, look, we can either make money together or we can figure out a way not to make money together. And that's going to be really a lose-lose for both of us. So how about we figure out a way to make money together? And the reality of the matter is most men, let me tell you ladies, I know people will say, yeah, they always come on, but most men would typically pick making money than the other thing. And that's the reality. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs will struggle with this. And I have had to struggle with it. But I teach women. I said, if you have taken the time to acquire as many skills as possible, not that you're all over the place, make it make sense with whatever your dream is. Remember, I said, you craft out your own dream. What is your niche? What is the set for yourself? For me, my own niche is literally speaking and teaching. And everything that I do allows me to do that. As a med spa professor, I offer services, but for the most part, I'm educating my clients on how to look good, how to keep up with their treatments, how to ensure that they follow up with their post-treatment plans. And then on the flip side, I train for technical skills as well, those who want to learn what I know how to do. And then when I get in front of a mic, in front of an audience, I'm teaching. And then my ability to teach, I realized last year, oh, wow, I can actually host events and MC. So I became Dr. OJ, the MC. Guess what? I'm still talking, I'm still teaching, but I'm still an entrepreneur. But because the world has kind of driven, like it's like the economy is changing, things are shifting, I have to figure out a way to keep shifting. And the only way to do that I've learned is my ability to acquire skills, be open-minded, learn things that align with who I am, my mission for my brand, my purpose, and then pivot as quickly and as seamlessly as possible, whereby you're not driving yourself up the wall, you're not losing momentum, and you're not really confusing your audience as to what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? No. I'm not saying that do all of those scattered things. Figure out a way to pull everything together. And I kind of will elaborate a little bit more on my journey being here in the US and honestly relating to Ms. Nafisa's story and seeing that even women here in the US, married, single. A lot of our women have not positioned themselves in a good way to allow themselves learn how to be self-sustaining. You would assume that America means everybody is enlightened. No, that's not the case. I still get to educate my peers who are like age mates where we had kids together and they're like, how do you do all these things? I'm like, are you seriously telling me you don't know social media? Are you seriously telling me you've not heard about AI? Are you seriously telling me you don't know that there's this classes that you can take? And it's amazing. But the reality of the matter is education is a universal problem that women still have and they lack. And we all have access to it, need to be more proactive in each one, teach one, each one, teach one. And that's why I was so excited to get on this WIMBIZ stage, because I'm like, my heart has always been, I want to come back to Nigeria. I want to come back to Nigeria because I feel like there's so much I can really bring back because I've learned so much. I'm doing so much. I want to come back to Nigeria and just add more value to even if not the whole of Nigerian population, but at least to the women, to show them that it's possible. And geography is not a determinant of success.
Dr. OJ, you are spitting fire. I love it. There are just some nuggets you've given today. And I want to repeat for the benefit of our participants. I've heard so much from you. Creative thinking and the ability to pivot quickly. When something is not working, pivot quickly, learn something new and, just do it. You also mentioned multiple streams of income. Don't rely on just one thing. When you pivot, have multiple streams of income. You are now Dr. OJ, the MC, and Dr. OJ, the professor, is now Dr. OJ, the MC. I love it. And you also said, when you saw the American dream wasn't working, you already, you had a vision. You thought, okay, this is how it would be. This is how it would be. But when you saw it wasn't working, you said, no. I have to, get Dr. OJ's own dream and run with it. And I just love it. I really love it. There was something you said, and I just want you to elaborate on it a bit. There was something you said when we were discussing before this webinar. You said financial independence is a strong tool to drive equity. Financial independence is a strong tool to drive equity. Please, can you just speak a bit more to this?
Definitely. When a woman is financially capable of doing certain things, the reality of the matter is when you walk into a lot of rooms these days, no matter where you want to chop and dice it, whether it's in business, it's in tech, it's in finance, it's in education, a lot of those rooms are still male dominated. And I've come to learn that it's not that the men are just there dominating. It's the fact that we don't have enough women who are actually upping their game to step up to qualify for those seats at the table. So while we're trying to talk about equity, let's backtrack a little bit and talk about what are we doing as women to get ourselves prepared to take up those roles and to occupy those spaces. Few women are doing it. Amazing. I'm so proud of how far we've come, but we still have so much further to go. We cannot all sit down, look in one place and assume that there's certain roles, there's certain jobs that are just meant for women. Every single profession, every single industry, women can start occupying space in there. And in order for us to command those high dollars, those high values, the kind of income that we want to command, the reality of the matter is we're going to have to become the people who are able to command those high values. And that means we have to invest in ourselves. We have to invest in educating ourselves. We have to invest in knowledge and just really positioning ourselves and learning systems and processes. Men are not doing better. I mean, maybe they started doing these things before us. They started organizing themselves. It's like the boy, they have the guy coach. It's like you see men, they will fight over several things. But when it comes to this money issue, they put all things aside. They get to it. It's like, let's make this money. We'll fight later. Let's make this money. We'll compete later. But when it comes to us women, we need to have that same mentality, that dogged mentality to say, look, sis, let's make this money later. Let's talk about our issue. Let's make this money together. Later, I'll go and buy, like whatever issues we got as females. Honestly, that is what makes the men, it seems like the men are actually advancing faster because they understand that when it comes to their pocketbook, you're not going to mess with it. I'm going to get my money first before I have any other issue with another person who can help me get to the money. So we need to have that same dogged mentality, to have that financial, the ability to come together, because really there's no I in success. It's not possible for one person to assume that, yes, because I have all the skills, I have all the ability. Well, you still need human connection and networks and things like that to make it. So if we as women can figure out a way to come together, to do the needful, make this money, get to it fast enough. And the faster we get to it, in fact, the fastest way for us to get to it is together, is to collaborate, is to be more cohesive. So that way, more women are rising. We put each other there. One person is there, drag another person, put them there, drag another person. That is the biggest context of me being an educator. I love educating. In fact, I'm so passionate about educating. Like if I learned something yesterday, you best believe that I'm somewhere on social media trying to teach somebody else tomorrow. Like, come on, look at what I just learned. Open your eye, or come and see what, because I just believe that, come on now, we go further faster together. Let's go, let's keep moving. That is what I believe. That's the strength of our finances. It's not really one person making all the money. It's really us making it together. We can make so much more together, and then we'll have more representation. And this equity conversation will now shift from it being equity for women to now being, okay, how can we begin to move humanity forward as a race, just as human beings, not really as a gender, like this gender is still fighting for this. Because when we look at it, it's not really the men standing in our way. I just have that strong belief. It's not really the other gender stopping us from getting something that we deserve. For the most part, it's really our female gender. Of course, over the years, we've been trained to believe that we're the weaker sex, with this and with that. Well, let's begin to unlearn all those things, relearn some new ways of thinking, and begin to develop ourselves in a more proactive and a very accelerated manner, because things are shifting so fast. And if we don't shift and move with the times, eventually 2024, 2025, this equity conversation will become like, okay, let's talk, enough already. Let's move.
Dr. OJ, I love it. Each one could reach one. There's no I in success. Team effort. I mean, one person, one sister pulling the other up, one person pulling another woman up. I mean, I love that. There's no I in success. And WIMBIZ is one of the platforms through which we achieve this. I mean, I know the nuggets, I know the education, I know what I've been through. I've been through the program, and I know how I have improved myself since I became a member of WIMBIZ. So please, let's take advantage. The WIMBIZ platform is there. Let's take advantage of it. I wish this conversation will not end. So I want to bring our other panelists in now. Damilola, I think I am back to you now quickly. We're rounding. There's just something, and it's the same question I want to pose to everybody, Damilola, Nafisa, and Dr. OJ. And I ask, if you have an opportunity to say something, to that entrepreneur, to that businesswoman, that young lady starting out her career, that vulnerable woman, to encourage her to build a financially sustainable future, what would it be? Damilola, please. What would it be? Just briefly, what would you tell young woman?
Thank you very much, Angela. So much has been said. It's been so awesome so far. But I would say that financial sustainability for anyone, and then especially a woman, is a journey. And so to make a success of that journey, it's important that you are deliberate about what you do. We need to be intentional, and we need to stay interested in that journey. So it's not a journey that you start and then you decide tomorrow, okay, I want to nap. It's a continuous thing. You just have to keep moving. And honestly, there are times that you don't feel like getting up. There are times you actually feel like wrapping the sheets over your head and just have some 30 minutes more sleep. But you need to understand that every step you take moves you closer to your goal. And I like what Dr. Oji has said about your own dream, carving that vision for yourself. If you're on a journey, is the destination clear to you? So I would love to say this. Understand what resources are required for you to make a success of that journey. So that at every point in time, there are milestones, there are things that you are measuring step by step to know how far you're going. And that's what being intentional about, the overall outcome is. Don't worry, even if you fail, if you make mistakes, if you, so as a woman, you own assets, and you owned assets along with your spouse, and then you were not being careful about how you held title, for example, and then you ended up losing the assets because maybe you got separated or something funny happened. It doesn't matter how deep, how bad, you can always still get up, sit with people who know. They said if you're on a journey and you seem to be missing your way, try to identify people who know where they're heading to, and relate with them. Let them help you to navigate your way back. I'm hoping that we'll still be able to address more specific things. I'm seeing some questions about how can I make investments. I believe we'll still be able to address that, but just understand this: you are on a journey, and that journey is a very personal one. So be very intentional about your outcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniela. In fact, I am just writing, and these are my personal nuggets I'm going to, and I can see so many, chats in the chat box. It's a journey. Consistency is key. Have your milestones and let your destination be clear. I love that. Have a clear destination. It's like what Dr. Oj said, have that dream. You know where you're going, and there are milestones, but consistency. When things don't look back, you're not feeling up to it. You just pick yourself up and you say, no, I've got to do this. So consistency is key. Have your destination in mind and just, keep at it. Keep at it. Nafisa, over to you, please. What would be, just start briefly, that's that woman,
yes,
girl, to build financial sustainability.
Thank you. Has actually summarized it all. Yes, I agree. I would say to her, know what you want. We have to be very clear what we want from the get-go, and to say plan it. I call it in bite size. Damilola calls it intentionality. So be very deliberate about what you're doing, but do it in such a way that you've planned it a bit at a time. Don't decide you're going to do everything all at once. Believe that you can do it. Nobody's going to do this for you. It's never about, everybody around you is only a support, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to do it. So you have to believe that you can do it. Then, irrespective of what life throws at you, keep at it, and life will throw. In fact, I always say, if life doesn't throw a curveball, then something is wrong. So know that it will happen, but when it does, there's nothing wrong with you taking time off for a year or two, but just come back on it and keep at it going. Lastly, what I would say would be for the young lady to keep in mind what she's doing regarding bringing up another woman, what she's doing regarding helping another woman achieve whatever it is that she's able to achieve. At the end of the day, we should all be very conscious about what legacy we're leaving. I think somebody spoke about the more you give, the more you grow. So if you want this goal that you've set for yourself to be achieved, identify another person, help them with their goals, and you will see how wonderfully yours will go up as well.
Thank you so much, Nafisa. Plan it in bite sizes. Don't bite more than you can chew. You may not at the same time be able to buy a property and maybe invest in mutual funds the same year or the same period, given what you have. But just plan it in bite sizes. Decide, okay, I'll start with this. This time I have this, I'll do this. And then just keep at it, keep growing, and just do it in little phases. I love it, Nafisa. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. OJ, back to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that question. I absolutely love it. So here's what I would say. There's several things, there's several statements and quotes and philosophies that I guide myself by. And one of them is we rise by lifting others up, right? And another one is we can have it all as women. We can absolutely have it all. If anybody ever told you otherwise, they lied, but not at the same time. So whatever your all is, understand that it's attainable. It's already there for you waiting, but you have to kind of take it one at a time and start sorting through. And in this life, one of the things that I would say is make yourself undeniably, indisputably excellent in whatever it is that you're doing. As women, when we're fighting for equity and we're trying to get to the money, because means financial sustainability, we're trying to get to the money. Might not be like financial dollars and pounds and naira, but getting to the money is attaining those levels of success, building those businesses, creating legacy, creating wealth, being able to take care of our families, take care of our children, leave some inheritance for them, and all of those things. While we're doing those things, the reality of the matter is, once we make ourselves undeniably, indisputably excellent in the things that we're doing, it becomes impossible for someone, anyone, whoever it is, to come against us. And it becomes just something that becomes a necessity for you to be called upon to share whatever value it is you have to offer in the marketplace. So that is one of the things that I'm going to encourage, our young ladies. I know I'm still very young. I told my mom I'm going to be young forever. Nobody tell me I'm old. No, please. I'm going to be young forever. But we just have to understand that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. It's going to be but just keep building up yourself. Keep learning. Whatever it is that you see, stay abreast of what's happening in the world. I mean, I don't listen to the news because there's so much bad news, but I stay on top of the things that are happening in the marketplace that impact my industry, all the industries that I play in, philanthropy, media, education, beauty, aesthetics, finances. Yes, I'm a licensed life agent as well. So I do life insurance. I do estate planning for people because it became important for me to get into that space. Once I had that problem solved for myself, I'm like, how many more women are not even aware that they don't even have their affairs in order when it comes to finances? I went 1 month, I got my license. I didn't even buy insurance. I was like, how am I going to start learning this thing? This brain has learned. I literally had to tell myself, stop, you can do it. And I got it done. So oftentimes I hear women say, oh, but I can't do that one. It's too... No. You absolutely can. Don't ever tell yourself you can't. Because if you say you can't, you're right. But if you say you can, you're also right. So choose your rights. Choose the right that's going to get you to the money. Don't limit yourself. Expand your horizon. And last but not the least, have a global mindset about your situation. You can now transact business across continents, across the ocean. You don't have to leave Nigeria. And I hear this thing a lot, but the reality of the matter, everybody wants to japa from Nigeria. And I say this from the most humble place. Trust me, japa is not the solution. The solution is figuring out what is going to work for you, where you're at, to improve your situation. And it's not going to be up to the next president. Neither is it up to Biden in the White House for me. And it's not up to whoever makes it to the Aso Rock. It's really up to us as a people, having the right network, being with WIMBIZ. I'm so excited to be on this WIMBIZ platform. You don't even know how long I've been like, oh my God, I love this organization. This is amazing. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I get excited and animated, but you get my point.
Yes, I do. And in fact, we close up this panel discussion with make yourself. Women, our participants, please, we need to make ourselves undisputably and undeniably excellent. And it's with those words that we would close up this panel discussion. But I mean, it's been a wonderful conversation. I've just been writing. There are some chats in the comments box that say, please, hope WIMBIZ HQ, hope, participants will get the recording. Everybody's excited. They say it's something they want to listen to over and over again, please. Then I also saw this comment, and I think it's good I mentioned it. It said, I wish I had met these women when I was, younger to, inspire, empower me and all that. I just wish, why am I just meeting them now? But the truth of the matter, and I think this is where we will just close off. There's a Q&A session coming up, but I think it's never too late. That's just what I'll say. You may not have heard this years ago, or when you were starting maybe your business or starting your career. But we're hearing it today, and it's never, never too late to make ourselves undeniably and indisputably excellent. So thank you very much to all our panelists, Damilola, Nafisa, and OJ. I mean, you've just been wonderful. So many nuggets of truth, so many little things we can take away. And they're not little, really, when we look at, they're big things. Because if we start doing these things, I mean, they will make great impacts in our lives. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful discussion. We're going into Q&A soon. So WIMBIZ HQ, please, I think you need to put up our sponsors video next as we prepare for the Q&A. Participants, please, questions go into the Q&A box. When we come back, we can take the Q&A. Thank you.
You've reached the stars, now let's see you conquer galaxies. You've gone for gold, let's show you 2 more treasure chests.
Your story doesn't have to end with you. As a matter of fact, it can continue into the next generation.
The only way to move is up, the way to go.
And the generation after that.
Don't stop.
After all, you've worked hard to get to where you are. Why should your wealth end with you? Let your story continue.
Medistam, let's grow wealth for you.
From taking their first breath, saying their first words, to taking their first steps, life is a journey. The journey from using a pencil to a pen, from kindergarten to college, and from chalkboard to boardroom. At Medistam, we can make that journey easy for you with our Medistam Education Trust, which allows you to set up a dedicated trust account for your children's education. With our Medistam Education Trust, you can rest assured knowing that neither death nor incapacitation can hamper your children's education. To get started, kindly call us on 0700 Medistam or send us an email at trustees@medistamng.com.
Okay, so we are back, I believe, from our sponsor break. And again, thank you to Medistam Securities for supporting this program. So we're back to Q&A. I believe I still have our panelists, Damilola, Nafisa, and OJ. So we are back for our Q&A session. So I can see, quite a number of questions in the Q&A box already. So we'll just go straight into it. The first question, I'll just direct the questions to whoever I think, would be most appropriate to answer. The panelist, I believe, is most appropriate to answer. So I have the first question, and I think this is for you, Damilola. How can women actively build sustainable assets for wealth growth?
Sorry, I'm not sure I heard you, Angela. Do you want to take that again?
Okay, let me take it again. It says, how can women actively build sustainable assets for wealth growth?
Sustainable success.
No, assets.
Assets. Oh, I see. Assets for wealth growth. Oh, great. Okay, so there's a whole lot, packed in that question, but we need to all understand that the concept of growing wealth has 3 levels to it. So there's the level of accumulation. That is, when OJ talked about multiple streams of income, what do you earn, budgeting, are you ensuring that you are not spending as you're earning? Are you ensuring that you have identified and separated your needs from your wants? You are investing after you have met your needs, and then you are using the proceeds of your investments to meet your wants. So there's that general level of accumulation, building blocks, step by step. Where am I today? What do I have? What can I, not necessarily comfortably, but what can I, as by obligation set aside, to invest into the future. That's one leg to it, the accumulation leg. The second leg to it is the management and multiplication of this wealth. How do I ensure that even what I'm setting aside is hedged against risk? It is of absolutely no use if you set aside money diligently, and then after you've done that for some time, you put all of that money together and you go throw it in a Ponzi scheme. You have only just dug a hole and thrown your life savings into that hole. So one thing to accumulate multiple streams of income here and there and all of that, but we know that you can't continue to work forever. You can't continue to work. You get to a certain level where you do not have the energy to keep up with all of that. So how are you managing what you're setting aside? Are you looking at risk, side-by-side returns, or all you're interested in is the returns? Come this way, they said they're giving you 10% monthly, you run there. This one is giving you 20% monthly, you go there. If it is too good to be true, then it is actually too good to be true. So if you should know that when you hear about fantastic returns, there's an element of risk underneath it. And I mean, if you're following world news, just the story of the Silicon Valley Bank is a simple, very basic example to it. So you have to understand how you are balancing, managing what you have. Diversification falls under that as well. In managing what you have, you're looking at risk, you are diversifying to ensure that you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, you have investments that you've set aside. It could be that you are putting money, through a mutual fund. That just allows the money to grow. It gets to a point where you can now then scale. You've built that foundation with that mutual fund, for example. You are now then looking at, okay, so I'm at a point where I can now invest in real estate, where I can invest in other people's businesses, where I can, you can now take bolder steps because you've actually set that foundation. And then the third leg, I started by saying accumulation, management, multiplication, and then you are now looking at the person, which is the legacy and the transfer leg to it. You really don't want to do all of this, work so hard, and then it goes to waste. When you're gone, what is speaking on your behalf? Have you put plans in place to ensure that the legacy you've built, the assets you've accumulated, and all of that have been put in such a manner that can transfer, to your loved ones? Why would you allow family, the courts, strangers to decide on who gets what? When you have the opportunity while you're very much alive and healthy, to put those plans in place. So for growing assets, to be financially sustainable as a woman requires you being, very intentional. Identify, work with professionals. I mean, I can't just overemphasize it. It's just like when you have a headache, you can actually go to the pharmacy to buy paracetamol or whatever and then take. But then when this headache keeps coming, they would write on the label that if symptoms persist after 2 days or something, see a doctor. There are certain things you can't do by yourself. It doesn't cost you much, to speak with a professional. Meristem is available. You can talk to us. We will need to understand what stage are you in life? What assets do you have? Where are you heading to? What are your financial goals? How long do you have, to achieve that goal? And then help you to build, when you have an accountability partner in a professional firm, help you to build that accountability into it so that, you can actually get to that destination and you can, fulfill your financial objectives. I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Yes, you have. In fact, accumulation, management and multiplication, and then you think of the legacy and transfer. And as you said before, it's a journey, really. It's a journey. So just when it looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true, that investment. So let's be careful. Thank you so much. I believe you have answered that question. There's another one. If you have a property that already has it as Mr. and Mrs. XYZ, how can one get it to be Mr. A and Mrs. B, XYZ? I think, Damilola, again, I'll go to you. I think you had already alluded to something like this. So please, if you can just quickly answer, what steps can one take?
So I don't like to give very specific recommendations, you know, without having a background story. So I would appreciate if that person can do me an email or something after now, because there are so many other factors to consider. You know, you don't want to, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So you don't want to go trying so that your spouse doesn't think there's a problem. So it would be nice to speak. Let me understand, you know, some background to where you are now, and if that is a pattern, and how you can now then best address it so that it's a holistic solution and not just me going straight off giving you a generic solution that can cause more problems than solving it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure the person will reach out. Now I have this question, and I'm going to, Nafisa, I'm going to direct these two, I'm going to lump these two questions together, and you know, Nafisa, I would like you to just answer. The question here that says, do you know about the UNICEF Giga project? How do you think this will change the narrative for education for the girl child in Nigeria and Africa? And there's another one that says, please, how can we work with you in your project in the area of entrepreneurship and vocational skill training? We run a professional beauty training institute and would want to lend a hand to, you know, your foundation. So could you just answer the first one on the UNICEF project? How do you think it will change the narrative for education of the girl child in Nigeria and Africa? And so there's somebody that is looking to lending support, you know, in vocational skills training. Nafisa. You're on mute, if you can hear me.
Hi. the joy of virtual meetings. All right. So yes, I'm unmuted now. Yeah, so I'll start with the second one. It's easy, really. Just contact me regarding whatever structure we might put in place. And we're always on the lookout for people that can help. It is a large number of kids, so you know, by all means. I don't know, WIMBIZ could give you my number or whatever is easiest. That will be fine. Now, I don't know this particular project, the UNICEF project, but I do know that organizations like UNICEF and quite a number do have a lot of projects that, I mean, so currently we're doing something with, I think it's called Agile. And I see the impact of programs like this, where we're able to go at the grassroots level to actually get the community to help and embrace this idea of education, even down to, so the current project we're working on, the whole idea is to try and see how we can get, we did that with SIF, or we're doing that with SIF, to get how we can get the community leaders, the religious leaders, to actually support the idea of the girl child education. We've had some successes in a number of locations. The Emir of Kebbi, for example, adopting a school and ensuring that girls go to school and actually remain in the school, such that the girl child can at least be assured of a minimum of a secondary school education. So I do know that a number of projects like this are able to help and have a very positive impact on the girl child education. But I don't actually know the Agile, what was it? This program.
The UNICEF Giga project.
The UNICEF Giga. No, I don't know the details of that. But ultimately, all of them usually do actually have a very positive impact, and making sure that the girls do get to school and remain in school throughout. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think, I don't know, WIMBIZ HQ, how you would share the contact. I think I saw there's an email, at least for Meristem, if you want to get in touch with Damilola. I'm sure they'll also share details for contact details for the other speakers, Dr. OJ and Nafisa. Now, Dr. OJ, over to you. I'm going to give you 2 questions. Well, the first one is directed to you specifically. It says, Dr. OJ, how do you manage your time attending to all you do without getting pulled apart? One at the middle. So that's the first one. And the second one, lots of women stop pushing after marriage, most especially after giving birth, having children. How do you balance marriage and career?
Thank you so much for the question. Yes, the first one is very, very interesting because I honestly, if I had a dime for every time someone asked me that question, I should be like a multi-billionaire now, literally speaking. But here's the thing. By nature, I'm a very passionate person. And everything that I do, I do it like just fully immersing myself in it. But one of the things that actually helps me is the fact that everything that I do, I absolutely love. It's not something that I'm forcing myself to do. That's why I stepped out of formal education. I used to work with Dallas ISD. I stopped enjoying the process of the bureaucracy, the red tapes, trying to educate kids, and you're not getting anywhere, making an impact. And then I had to step out of that, and I created a system within my business that allowed me to help educate people. With the nonprofit that I work in, we help educate youth and families to live beyond domestic violence, teen dating violence. Those are things that I absolutely love. I do everything that I love. And a lot of the things that I do, first of all, I educate myself. I acquire the necessary skills so I don't have to struggle. However, I have found myself in seasons when I sort of struggled a little bit and I was like, this is too much. And I had to make the express decision to remove myself from certain things. And that is where women have to understand that you have to be very aware of yourself. Self-awareness is key in growing wealth, in developing yourself, knowing who you are. You know your limits, you know your threshold. So while everyone was saying, Dr. O, we need you here, Dr. O, this and that, I had to start saying, okay, no, I can't do that right now. I will think about it later. Whereas in the past, I would say, okay, yeah, let me do everything. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. But when I started to realize that I was becoming overwhelmed and I became very unproductive, I took myself out of certain social media platforms. It was just very intentional. I'm on every social platform by virtue of what I do. But I was like, no, I can't be on this platform for a couple of months because this is not good for me. And it's not serving me well right now. It might come back and serve me later, but it's not serving me well right now. So that's the thing. And I developed over the years a very detachment personality. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't get too attached to people or things. Not that I don't care or love people, but understanding that the different seasons of your lives requires you to be a different person and to move differently. And if certain things and people are not moving along with you that way, then you have to be ready to let it go. Don't let it hinder you and hold you back. That's kind of how I manage not being tethered or being torn apart in the middle. Now, as far as the second question, how do you manage marriage and work? I was married several years ago, but I'm no longer married right now. I'm divorced. I'm raising 3 children. It's just as much as being married with children. And, you know, trying to date in this state, you can imagine the challenges. But the reality of the matter is I just make it work. I balance it out. I build my life around everything that I do, living life by design. I incorporate my children in my business. I incorporate my relationships in the things that I do. The kinds of relationships that I engage in align with who I am and what I'm doing. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't really fit into, and that's okay. A lot of women feel like you have to give one up to get one. Remember, I said you can have it all, but not at the same time. And that's also where you begin to understand the things in your life that you're bringing in. Does it serve your higher purpose? And is it in line with who you're trying to be? Not from a selfish perspective, don't get me wrong, but from understanding what your calling is, what your purpose is, and being able to align yourself with the people and the things that you are supposed to serve and are supposed to serve you. So that's kind of how I curate my space. And yeah, it's tough, it's hard, but man, someone's got to do it. That's life. Like Miss Nafisa said, life will slap you, it will kick you, but life is doing what it's supposed to do. You just have to make up in your mind to stand strong and do what you need to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ode. I think there's another question on mine, but I think you have been able to handle that, you know, effectively. So WIMBIZ HQ, there are some comments on the recordings, please, still. So if you could address those, people are asking, how can they get the recorded version? Okay. Okay, yes. Somebody says she's quite distracted at work right now, so please she would move the recorded version. Now there's another question. How can you get the idea or get ideas on any trending business that can earn you income? And also, this person is saying, you know, sometimes you want to, you know, get information from women, and it seems that they hide information from, you know, from others. Maybe they don't want others to know what they're doing or the source of their income or something. So there's a question, you know, pertaining to that this person feels that it's not really easy working with men because sometimes they hide information. Also, financial resources have been difficult. There are some consultancies one would like to do, but the bills are quite high and non-affordable. I think, Dr. OJ, I'll still address this to you. How does one get, you know, the idea on any trending business that can, you know, earn one a good income? Then what's your take on this? What this person is saying that, you know, it seems women don't really like to share.
So the selfish nature of man comes natural to all of us. However, we all just have to evolve past it. And I completely get that part. And that is where each of us being able to curate our space. It's important for you to identify the people that can truly serve you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about people who don't want to share information, who are not liberal with educating others and helping others. There's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do for yourself is find people who are willing. The reality of the matter is there are more people willing to help than there are those who are not willing to help. See that WhatsApp group of those people that are hoarding information is dwindling. Everybody's moving out of that WhatsApp group. The community of those of us that want to share, want to help, that WhatsApp group is growing. So there's more of us who are willing to help than those who are not willing to help. So don't, you know, shift your mind. Don't focus on that. Focus on, I'm going to find someone who's going to help me. Set your intention. You know, I did a conference last week and Setu was sharing a testimony. I was like, that is the power of intention. When your mind is so set on a definite purpose, you know, L. Nightingale said there's nothing that can stand against the will of a man that is set on a definite purpose in their lives. And that includes the thought process of who and what and when. You just have your definite purpose of, I need help, I need this information, and I promise you, you will be able to come in contact with those people. Forget those other ones. Their WhatsApp group is dying. Don't worry about them. Now, as far as being able to identify the things that are trending, I don't want you to focus on trends. I never said trending. Oh, yes, I did say trends, but understanding the trends in the way that it serves what you're trying to accomplish or what you're already doing. Do not follow a trend to find something that you need to do to start, because trends will fade, but trends actually help to ginger and push and propel and accelerate momentum. And that gets you to the next level. Then on that next level, then you have to figure out the systems and processes that you have already put in place that will help sustain what you're doing. In order for you to decide what you need to do, you have to first start from this place. What do I really enjoy? What is something that comes easy for me? I said it's that thing that you enjoy that comes easy for you might not be the thing that initially helps you make all the money you need. Now you might have to do something you have to do, get a job, serve under somebody, volunteer somewhere, give your services away for free. All of these things are things that I have done. Speak for free, teach for free, apprentice. You have to do. You see, before you get, you have to give. That is the reality. And then you begin to now grow into that thing that you love. So that way, when you get into that position of doing that which you love, you've gained authority. You are undisputable, undeniably excellent in it because you have served, you have given, you have done the needful. And now you have maybe worked a job that you probably don't enjoy to get some funds and resources. When I started my businesses, I cleared out my teacher's retirement fund. That was my own plan. I cleared it out and I invested in my business. But guess what? 5 years down the line, I have done several other things, being able to get back into the investing game, because now all of that initial sacrifice from that job that I did that I invested, it has started to give me a little bit of something to now reinvest. Now I'm reinvesting and then reinvesting. And now I'm at the point where Miss Damilola was talking about, where you're now thinking of legacy wealth. Now, what do I begin to put in place to ensure that when I no longer can run around, when I no longer can do these things, then I'm taken care of? So it's in seasons, but you have to understand that it's a process. Follow the process, follow the system, surround yourself with the right people, have the right mindset. It first starts here. If here ain't right, nothing's gonna be right. So don't worry about that WhatsApp group. Let's just erase them. They're going to be extinct very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. OJ. So, Damilola, my next question is to you. I think I had seen it above, but somehow I missed it. But I remember I saw that question. And it says, what type of investments would you advise a salaried, somebody that gets salary every month, a salaried employee? What type of investments would you advise that person to have? Things that are, an investment that is easy, that may not place too much of a burden on the person. What would you advise, please?
Okay, great, simple. A money market mutual fund is very simple and basic. So what does that allow you to do? It's a mutual fund is a collective investment program that licensed asset managers offer, such that they're able to pool funds. So you have 50,000, someone has 200,000, another person has, you have investments in little sums. The asset manager puts it together and then puts it in a fund. That fund is dedicated towards, certain things. So for the money market fund, you'll find that that fund is, the investments that happen in that fund are basic investments in treasury bills, investments in bank deposits, but they do it collectively on all our behalf. So at the end of the day, what that fund is investing in is probably in millions of naira, whereas your own contribution is just a fraction of it. So think of it as, 3 people going to buy pizza, and then you have a box of pizza. You get to put a knife into the pizza, and then you have slices. If you had just a fraction of the amount, by the time you all put the money together, you are able to buy a full box of pizza. But then when you're sharing, you all get the proportion of the money you contributed towards that pizza. So that's how a mutual fund works. So and with mutual funds, you can top up at any point in time, and usually the minimum period for you to keep that investment is just 30 days. You can always take it out after 30 days. But so you can set up that auto debit, Maristem, we have this platform called Wealth Body. So if you can download the app, that it can allow you to, save in that manner. You can decide on the frequency in which you want to top up your mutual fund. And that's just low level of risk. It allows you to accumulate, So for a salaried earner, that works perfectly well. You can now then take it a notch further. After I always emphasize, build a foundation first. With that sort of mutual fund, money market mutual fund, you can build a foundation. Then you can begin to do exotic investments like buying shares. Then you are looking at real estate opportunities, but make sure you have a solid and strong foundation first. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So one of the ways, something easy to do is mutual funds. Thank you very much, Lola. Now, there's a question here. It says, how does a workplace implement work-life balance initiatives? This question is addressed to Dr. OJ, but I would also want Nafisa, please, to, comment on this, because you are a people person, you are a HR practitioner. So please, Dr. OJ, you could go. Nafisa, please, I'd like your comments on this question also.
Please, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
How does a workplace, Dr. OJ, how does a workplace implement work-life balance initiatives?
How does a workplace initiate work-life balance initiatives?
Yes, implement work-life balance initiatives.
So that starts from the organizational culture. So now now there's a system where a lot of organizations are understanding the need that employees have to become entrepreneurs. When in the past, before the pandemic, That was a taboo. You could not literally tell your employee that you had a side hustle or you had other interests. Now they're understanding that in order for them to have quality workers, in fact, the best quality workers are those who are invested in other interests, because their commitment to building their businesses or whatever, those disciplines that they have translates into their ability to self-start, self-perform, and self-monitor themselves on the job. So they're finding that those are the quality of candidates they're hiring now. So now an organization can institute that by creating an entrepreneurial system whereby your workers are coming in, they're working, they're doing the thing, but giving more ownership to them, allowing them to have a stake, not necessarily giving them part of your business, but allowing them to take ownership of whatever role you're employing them in, being flexible with them. And that has worked a lot for more organizations maintaining workers, because here on this side of the world, it's been a very tedious task finding credible workers. People don't want to work anymore. Everybody wants to do their own thing. So if you're going to have someone who's going to stay at a job and run your business, build your organization, you have to be flexible enough to understand their needs as a person, as a human being, their fundamental needs, understand, have those conversations from the beginning, and then set up the culture from that standpoint, and, you know, create the work balance around them. So whereby it used to be fully going into the office, now employees, you do remote, you come in, flexibility. Let's have it half and half so we can keep our thing going, because we know you also want to keep your thing going. So I don't know if that helps a little bit.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. But Nafisa, please, your perspective. If you could just comment on this, you know, for this individual that asked, how does a workplace implement work-life balance initiatives?
Yeah. So I think so here in Nigeria, there will be a probably slight tweak to it. With the private sector, you're more likely to get organizations making the effort in terms of what Dr. Uche has said. I'm aware of organizations. In fact, here in Abuja, recently I came across a young IT firm, because I mean a lot of these entrepreneurial startups that are coming up are actually being put up by the young individuals that we've got in the society. So I see, you know, things have X hours, so it doesn't matter if you want to come and do a 7 to 3 o'clock, or you want to do a 9 to 5, is up to you, as long as you get the hours that's required and as long as you deliver. So it's changing slightly, but the reality is it's going to be much slower within the Nigerian space. And in the public sector, it's even much slower. So a lot of it really will be down to the individual to be able to see how you manage that. Now, we use the word balance a lot. When we were celebrating our International Women's Day here in NERSL, I actually spoke to this to say, I don't actually personally use the term balance, because for me, when I think balance, it connotates this need to put everything in boxes. And the reality is I can't do that. Instead, I use integration, because I find that easier. And for me, what does that mean? When I'm in a space, I am that and nothing else. So when I'm at work, my focus is on work, and I do everything that I need to do within that time frame. The moment I'm out, work stops. I'm focused on my family. I'm focused on whatever it is that I need to do outside. I do quite a lot of things outside of work. So that's when I use that time. But the reality is I do know that there are times when there's a board submission that has to go the next morning, you know, or there's an email that I have to address over the weekend. I wouldn't normally work over the weekend now anymore. But when that comes up, I understand that's what's required. So yes, I'll step down on whatever the need of the family is, and I'll focus on that and get that out of the way. So for each individual, really, it's for you to understand your specific need. I also say things about the body. My body gives me warning signs. I know by now what's going on when I need to take that time off. I can't remember the last time I took my entire leave, for example, at once. I would always take a 5 days plus the weekends or a public holiday, and I end up having my 14 days, and you know, you take a break. So each individual within the Nigerian space would actually have to be responsible for that. Bottom line, you do need to make that effort. We're losing a lot of people simply because we're not being careful to think. Stress is a very silent killer, but it's a real killer. So yes, most of it will have to be done by the individual within the Nigerian space. But
Nafisa, if I could just build on that question a bit. So what are some low-hanging fruit that organizations can, without, can implement? What quick wins can they implement in organization in terms of this?
The low-hanging fruits, they're actually there. They're quite. They're quite. They are there really. So it's things like keeping everything within the working hours, as an example. Nothing after 5 o'clock. Nothing to come up weekends. Giving individuals the leverage to decide when to resume. Some people are early starters. They can come in, do what they need to do, and close a bit earlier. As long as they've done, you should. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's breaking a bit. We can okay. Still hear. It was breaking a bit.
Right. So the timing variation is a low-hanging fruit. The other bit is what COVID has brought for us. I keep saying, whatever downside you think a situation has, there's always an upside to it. COVID, yes, done a lot of damage, but this idea of virtual work has come to stay. And these are things that even within the Nigerian space, organizations can actually take leverage on to help help individuals balance this work-life situation.
Thank you so much. So there are some quick wins that organizations can actually, some easy things to do that organizations can implement to create that work-life balance or work-life integration, as you rightly put it. There's a question here, and we're rounding up the Q&A session soon. But there is one more question, and it's to Dr. Ode. I'm a recently certified esthetician in Lagos, and finding a job here has been disappointing. Barely any facilities to promote growth in skincare and wellness. Any tips for growing a career after school?
That is a very, very good question. As far as any tips for growing, is she looking for tips for growing her business or getting a job?
Any tips for growing in my career?
Okay, in her career. Okay, good. Good. All right. Honestly, I would say start freelancing. Start freelancing, mobile services. That is a good place to start. As an esthetician, doing facials, home-based facials, investing a couple of thousands of naira to get your facial equipment. Doesn't have to be anything sophisticated yet, just doing the bare minimum for people. I'm a huge advocate of starting where you're at and starting with what's in your hand. Because if we look hard enough, not necessarily even too hard, you already have the skills, you already have the training. Amazing. You've done half the job. Now, all you have to do is social media, start promoting yourself, start offering your services as a mobile service, as a freelancer, doing facials for people. It might not be the sophisticated facials, but something that can really help them with your skill set. You should be at least able to help them with cleaning out their pores and getting rid of dead skin and just giving them that basic one. And then take it from there. As you build on that, grow from that, then you'll be able to hopefully afford more equipment to grow out your business. But honestly, with the situation in Nigeria, as I'm aware, I wouldn't tell you to keep looking for a job. You can keep looking, but while you're looking, start freelancing, start offering your services as a mobile home-based. There's someone, there are people around you, your neighborhood, that would be willing to pay something to service, and do it well. Do it with excellence. Let the education you got, the training reflect in your service, and then you're going to see the growth. That's honestly the most candid advice that I would give you.
I think that is quite exciting. And social media is also a tool she can use. Like even as she freelances and puts her work
videos, yes. Do the videos, and
take
every time
pictures.
every time you go, get each person to give you a review. Get them to tell about their experience. Only the good ones, though. The ones that are bad, take it and improve. The ones that are good, post it. It's true now.
So I think, let me see, Marizo, I think that's a good thing. Just start freelancing. Thank you so much. Yes, we're just rounding up the Q&A, but 2 more questions. And I mean, I will not be left out of the Q&A. I have a question for the panelists. So please, I must have the opportunity to ask my question. But there's this question. I have been mulling over joining WIMBIZ for years now. And any one of the speakers, please throw some light on what is available for women who join WIMBIZ. Thanks in advance. What are the resources? We say WIMBIZ empowers, inspires, and has been advocating, over these last 20 years, advocating, for greater representation of women in private sector, public sector. So please, I would like Nafisa, I know is a member of WIMBIZ, and even Damilola, could we speak to this? What resources, what tools are available for women when they join WIMBIZ? How does it impact them?
Okay, let me quickly try to answer that. WIMBIZ provides an opportunity, for networking with other women, and that's something that on your own you can't get. The whole essence of networking, is meeting other people, people of like minds, people of bright minds, people who you can share ideas with. And it's not just at the central level, yes, you have programs such as this, but you also then have, it's as granular as having WhatsApp platforms. WIMBIZ has WhatsApp groups based on location, where, I've seen fantastic things happen on those WhatsApp platforms. So someone just says, hello, ladies, I'm struggling. I've had plumber issues and it's so disappointing, And 1, 2, 3 people are responding. They're sharing contact details. And then this person is coming back 1 week later to say, wow, that was, as mundane, as simple as that. And then you can imagine the other bigger things. So someone is pulling ideas, asking questions. How can I do this better? And then you have 1, 2, 3 people speaking. I have had several people reach out to me on investment from the WIMBIZ platform. I have had people that have reached out to, on different things. So WIMBIZ has that platform, you have access to other women. And yes, while you may find people, some women who are hiding information, I tell you, there are a whole lot more out there who are willing to share. So you just have to find yourself in that, right? There's also the mentoring platform, you can be mentored, you can apply to be a mentee. As a mentor, you can also, apply to be a mentor. So there are just so many opportunities. At the risk of, being the advertising manager for WIMBIZ, but really as an associate, not just an associate by myself, but Meristem, is a partner to WIMBIZ, and we have partnership really very, very useful over the years. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Nafisa, any quick words from you? Yes, her hand is up, so I know she wants to say something. Please, Nafisa.
So I wanted to add one more thing, in addition to what Damilola has said. So somebody asked earlier on something to do with women not wanting to help other women or something along those lines. I agree, that's a general mindset that most people have, but joining a space like WIMBIZ will actually show you that there's a huge change to that. If you are opportune to say attend even something like the conference, just by the sheer number of seeing the number of women that are there, the number of women that come on board and are willing to share whatever their experience is, quite, free of charge, as it were. Free of charge, as it were. It's actually quite huge. So being in WIMBIZ, in addition to the networks and all that, for me, when I see somebody able to achieve something, even if this person doesn't help me out, just the fact that I've seen Miss A do it, Miss B do it, the question is, why can't I do it? It propels me and pushes me and encourages me to go out of my way to see that because others have done it, I'm also able to do it. So that's something very key that you will get just within the space of WIMBIZ, in addition to what Damilola earlier said.
Yes, in fact, thank you, Nafisa and Damilola. I mean, WIMBIZ has given me the opportunity today to be speaking to wonderful, distinguished women like yourselves. Nafisa, maybe I would never have met you, Damilola, and even Dr. Ude. I think it's a really good platform. So please, if any of our participants, please, if you want more information on WIMBIZ, please, as I said, you can go to the website, www.wimbiz.org, or send an email to membership@wimbiz.org. I'm seeing this question, and I think it's really important we take it. It'll be the last one before mine, because I have a question for the panelists, but we are rounding up. This will be the last question in the Q&A chat box. It says, please, what is your advice for women in their 50s? Women who once worked with multinational companies for years, but for one reason, they were downsized. Have spent their youthful years working and never done business. Oh, wow, it's moving. Sorry, I think I've never done business. I hope they haven't, okay, it's here. Never done business. Kindly have advice, because I am drained. God bless you. Now, I don't know who wants to go first. So please, maybe I'll start with OJ, and this is parting words. Please, what advice, briefly, do you have for this person? Never done business, 50-something. It's not used to it, doesn't even know where to start. And the person says she's drained. Please, what advice? If there are comments from Damilola and also Nafisa, please, I would like you to chip in. But Dr. OJ, what advice do you have for this person?
First of all, business is not for everybody. That's the first place to start from. If you've never done business and you're worried and you have a trepidation about getting started, maybe business is not for you. I'm not discouraging you from actually trying to do something beyond the work that you've already done. I think a good place to look at would be to figure out what type of investments can you begin to put yourself into that will begin to work for you. Now, when you talk about business, there's different levels to this thing. A lot of people assume that once you come into the business, you're CEO, boss chick, you're, those titles that we like to call ourselves. No, you're not.
Okay, Dr. Okay, could I just give a little, sorry, I just want to clarify that this person is no longer working. He lost her job, was downsized, and so doesn't really, maybe has no income now. So she's looking at business. So investment is not really what, but looking at business, but saying,
because when you said she's 50, she's never done business. I felt, okay, good. Sorry about that. So if that's what the case is, then she might have to figure out what type of trade, what type of industry do you want to get into? What industry interests you? Because business can be up and down. And for the most part, a lot of business owners will tell you it's more down than it's up. When it's up, it's really up, but you'll have to go through a lot of downtimes. You have to put in a lot of work. You have to invest. You have to market. You have to promote yourself before you even start to get the return. So you have to get into an industry that you're very, very interested in. And then when you get into that industry, the first thing is education. Educate yourself about that industry. Get the necessary skills that would allow you to move very well in that space. And then figure out how much do you have initially by yourself to start off. Because I don't know how easy it is to access funds. I know it's not, but I'm just saying that just rhetorically. Just see what you have in your hands to start. Do you have enough to actually get started? Like the other lady who is an esthetician, I told her to start freelancing. To start with getting some not very inexpensive tools to put together and start offering her service. The same thing. What type of business are you trying to do? You have the funds that are necessary to get you started by yourself first. Because mostly anybody that you're asking to invest in you, for the longest time, I tried to get investors to help me with my business, but I did not. And initially, I used to take it personally. I used to get upset, like, don't you see my plan? Don't you see my business plan? Why don't you want to help me? But I realized that nobody will invest in you until you have gone all in for yourself. And then that is when people want to come in, or eventually maybe you begin to attract some other person who's going to be like, okay, I see how far you've gone. I see you're making it work. I see you're doing this. Okay, let me put a little into it. Or when you now do go to look for those funds, then it's easy for you to access them. So it's the same thing. Start with what you have in an industry that you're interested in. Get the education and then just get started. Just get started. Learn systems and processes. It's so important. You know, beyond training technical skills, I realized that a lot of women that were coming to me to learn how to become a med spa professional did not have any business skills. They didn't know what it meant to even register a business, put this in place, put that in place to ensure they had the systems and processes to run smoothly. So I created a Beauty of Business masterclass to teach them about business. And all I did was teach them all the mistakes I made so they didn't have to make it. Literally 10 models, and I'm teaching you from 1, 2, 3. I made a mistake on this level. Don't do this, do this. Number 2, I made a mistake on this level. Don't do this, do this. And we have 10 models where I teach you about business. So from your inception of ideas to creating a business plan that is workable for you to scale, to actually developing your brand identity, know, like, and trust, and actually having an actual business, that's what my class offers. And I realized that it's a huge need. So if you're trying to do business, even after acquiring the skills, please learn the business of doing business first, because you will fall flat on your face if you don't. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Oji. Damilola, any tip for this person?
Okay, so I would love to sit with this person, and so I've sent a private reply. I think you're just feeling drained. It doesn't mean that you don't have something in you to offer. Let's sit and have a talk. I really hope if she's in Lagos, fine. Otherwise, it can be a virtual call. I would love to speak with you and just encourage you, and then figure it out. Something will work. Just trust that something will work. I'm certain.
Thank you, Damilola. Please, if we could just give a
Miss Angela,
just give a high five to Dami. Yes, please.
Dami, thank you so much for that. When you talk to her, if she's interested in learning about my business thing, I'll be happy to donate that to her personally.
Wow.
I'll be happy to do that. It's a 4-week or 5-week class, depending on the individual, but we'll go through everything from start to finish. By the time she gets out of the class, she will have a working business plan, because a business plan is not something to write and drop. It's working for you while you're building. So if you're ready to scale, or if you want to build it where you can sell it and exit, we're going to develop that plan for you.
Our panelists are just too wonderful. Please, our participants, please, let's just give a wonderful round of applause to all our panelists. I mean, this is great. Free advice from Damilola, Dr. OJ, even a master class, you know. Thank you so much, our wonderful speakers. Okay, and Nafisa, I'm so sorry.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, the network is quite terrible. Can I just quickly say
No, that's fine. Quick comment from you, please.
Yeah. So for the 50-year-old lady, and I think somebody also asked a question regarding something along the lines of marriage being an impediment. So I'd like to sort of take the two at once. I don't think age really is a factor. I believe the KFC chap came up with KFC at the age of 60 or something, isn't it? Colonel Sanders. So it's for this. Is for this lady to leverage her experience. She has been working. There's already something she's good at. So leverage what you know, focus on what you like doing, and find a way to monetize that. And again, being on WIMBIZ, there's a lot of people. You've heard all the advice that Dr. Ojo and Damilola said. So you will actually be able to get the help. With regards impediments, I think it's for us to understand that yes, marriage may be a hindrance or to delay, but it's not an impediment in terms of not completely allowing you to grow. There's always ways around it. So again, is for you to understand what you want and then look around your environment. Places like WIMBIZ would help us as well. There would always be that person that would give a helping hand.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, our wonderful panelists. This Q&A, sorry, I see a lot. I think our participants were inspired at the end to drop, some more questions. So I can see a lot of questions have come in, but unfortunately, we will not be able to take any more. We're running behind schedule. But I don't know if there's a way these questions can still be answered. So maybe, WIMBIZ headquarters will speak to that at the end, even if it's just to, write the answers and send it out to people. So thank you very much to our wonderful panelists. I have just one question. Now, I have heard the perspective, loans. I was speaking to a woman the other day and she said, look, I take a lot of loans because if I don't, when my salary comes in at the end of the month, there's always one issue or the other that will take it up. So I put it into something and know that it's already mortgaged before I get it. So I will not be able to use it, on extraneous things. I just want a perspective on this. Is this the right approach? Just take loans for the sake of taking a loan so that, you won't use it to solve issues that you may not want to solve, like family problems may come up or something. And that was her perspective. And she says it's working for her. So I don't know what, and Damilola, maybe I'll give this to you. What's your perspective on that?
Again, I would say if it is not broken, don't fix it. If it works for her, it works for her. So I think what is important, other people's money, OPM, has always been a very positive concept. You can leverage other people's money, other people's resources, other people's experience. There's so much to leverage from other people to help you, get to your destination faster. So the concept of loan, if you are taking a loan and you're putting it in an asset, you're fine. It will be a mistake to put a loan into a liability. So you take a loan because you want to upgrade your wardrobe, you want to look a certain way, and then that is a liability, except if you are a model, if you are a fashionista, a model, and that is a source of income. So that loan is being deployed as an asset to make you a better model, to open you up for better work opportunities. That's when it's excusable. But the basic rule of thumb is take a loan and put it into something that would yield of itself, so that it is an asset that you're putting that money into. So if you're able to achieve that discipline by doing that, then it's fine. That's my opinion to that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Damilola. So don't take a loan and put it into what somebody would call a wasting asset. Put it into a proper that would yield income for you down the line. Thank you so much. So at this point, I would just like to say a big thank you to all our panelists, Damilola, Dr. OJ, and Nafisa. Thank you so much. I know I speak on behalf of all the participants that this has been educative, inspiring, and empowering. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot thank you enough. I've seen all the chats. I can't read all of them, but even from the chats, I know it says you guys are great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great session. So thank you very much. We're moving to the next item now on our agenda, and that's remarks from our sponsor. So please would like Ms. Malbong Asema, Team Lead Wealth Advisory, Meristem Wealth Management Limited. Please, Ms. Asema, the floor is yours. We have a message from Meristem.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Angela. We just want to say thank you very much to WIMBIZ for having us. It was a truly, truly impactful session. Thank you for bringing together this wonderful panelists. And for the benefit of some of us who may not know who Meristem is, Meristem Securities Limited is a financial services group, and we've been in business for almost 20 years now. And we provide distinct financial services through our 6 subsidiaries, Meristem Stockbrokers Limited, which takes care of, provides equities trading services, generally buying and selling of equities. Damilola talked about investing in stocks, so that's what Meristem Stockbrokers does. We have Meristem Capital Limited that provides corporate finance and advisory services to companies for corporate restructuring. We're talking about people who want to start up a business. What Meristem Capital does is provide a financial advisory service. We have Meristem Registrars and Probate Services that takes care of share registration services, and then for corporate organization and offers probate services to individuals. So in the case of when loved ones passed on, and you need to pull those assets together, that's what Meristem Registrars and Probate Services does. We also have Meristem Wealth Management Limited that provides, licensed as funds and portfolio managers and provides services to clients through provide asset management services, real estate, investment in mutual funds like Dami talked about, and other fixed income instruments like bonds and deposits. And then we have Meristem Trustees Limited, which provides trusteeship services to individuals and institutions. At the moment, Meristem Trustees is a part of their effort to foster equity and inclusion that we've been talking about. Meristem Trustees is offering women 50% off its products and services, which is a great place to start. If you ask me, I don't think there's a better time to be talking to a financial advisor. With this kind of offerings, we hope at Meristem that we've been able to fulfill our promise of growing wealth for our clients, taking care of their wealth creation, preservation, and transfer, which Dami talked about earlier. You can also, talking about positioning yourself as a woman, and one of the steps you can take is determining what your financial objectives are and then downloading our app called WealthBuddy. I think it will be dropped in the chat box. You can download the app and then you can start having a conversation with Meristem to be able to position yourself, to be able to take sensible financial decisions to take you further in your wealth growth. Thank you very much to WIMBIZ, and thank you to everyone that has attended this session together with us today. We hope that it has been indeed very productive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Imalbong Asema from Meristem Wealth Management Limited. So now, without much ado, I'd like to call on Chosma Dekutumi from the WIMBIZ headquarters for the closing remarks and some announcements. So Precious, over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Angela. Good afternoon, everybody. I trust we've had a wonderful, wonderful session. And my name is Precious Majekodimi. I serve as the Programs and Membership Manager here at WIMBIZ. We can all agree that today's session has really been engaging and enlightening, which is what we do with all of our programs here at WIMBIZ, which is to inspire and empower. I'm sure we all took away nuggets shared by our powerful speakers, from expanding our capacity to geography being a determinant of success. And once again, if it's not broken, do not fix it. And so on behalf of our founders and board of trustees, I'd like to say thank you to all the participants for joining in from various parts of the world. Once again, we'd like to appreciate our sponsor, Meristem Securities Limited, for helping us achieve today's program. As you see from the chat box, we've been dropping our evaluation form, and so would like for you to take that evaluation now. As you know, feedback is very important to us, and with this feedback, we always take it back, look at it, and we're able to curate events such as this. I'm just going to give very few seconds because we are way out of time. I believe we are doing that now. We also kindly invite our dear participants who are not WIMBIZ associates to join us today. We've also dropped that in the chat box. For further inquiries, please contact us via email at membership@wimbiz.org. We have our upcoming programs. As you know, we're in the month of March, and we've been celebrating women all month. And so we have a movie day and networking event, which is happening on Thursday, March 30th, 2023. We encourage you to be on the lookout for that and register once that has been publicized. We also have our WIMBIZ mentoring induction, which is happening this next Saturday, March 25th. It's one of our longest running programs as well. We also have our WIMBIZ Women on Boards mentoring program. We started call for application, and it's a 3-month program that will be run from May to July, and deadline for application is April. We also invite our associates, like I said earlier, who are yet to join us to register. We've received an application as far back as December. We have our induction, which is coming up on Friday, April 21st, and we encourage you to be a partaker of that. You can also follow us on all our social media handles: LinkedIn, Women in Management, Business and Public Service, Twitter @WIMBIZ, and Instagram, WIMBIZNG. You can visit our WIMBIZ website to register for upcoming programs. We hope that you enjoyed the session. We hope that you join us for other events and programs that are coming up, and we look forward to hosting you next time. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon.